I'm Dr. Jatindra Kumar Rath, joined Utrecht University, Netherlands in 1995 as full tenured assistant professor, and from 2012 became the group leader of the physics of devices at Philip High Tech campus in Eindhoven. He has over 30 years of experience in thin film silicon materials and solar cells and published more than 230 journal papers and a number of papers at international conferences. His H-index stands at 34 in Scopus. Under his guidance, 17 students have done their PhD at Utrecht University and 7 students at present doing PhD at IIT Madras. He has supervised many Dutch national and European projects on thin film solar cell research and technology development. His main research interests are fabrication of advanced materials by PECVD, multi-junction and heterojunction solar cells on nano and micro-textured plastics and metal foils, quantum dot and intermediate bandgap solar cells. He has worked closely with various industries, which include Akzo Nobel, Neon Vattenfall, Philips Lighting, Fujifilm, T-Solar, Asahi Glass Company, Tempress, Oxford Instruments, and so on, and developed technologies such as Aeolus roll-to-roll solar modules, flexible solar cell on cheap plastics, security papers, extremely large solar cell modules, impermeable thin film encapsulation for lighting, display, and solar cells. From May 2018, he has joined as professor at IIT Madras, transferred his complete PV lab from Utrecht University, and established that at IIT Madras. Um, Richly supplemented by a number of fabrication and characterization equipment within DST funded project. He is now the coordinator of the PV domain of a large DST consortium, DSEHC, mainly to develop single junction SHJ solar cells and perovskite tandem solar cells. He is also developing new concepts such as 2D, 3D hybrid perovskite solar cells as a mentor for a DST TARA project and silicon germanium quantum dot solar cells. On behalf of all the RIOS members, I welcome you, Professor, to this webinar. And I also welcome all the invited guests and participants to this ninth webinar series. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen and scholars, I respectfully request Professor Jatindra Kumar Rath to begin his presentation. Professor, you have the floor.
My talk is about effective use of solar spectrum to meet the energy demand of the world. So this is just introduction. This one is that the solar power installation is increasing continuously every year, and 2022 nearly more than 200 gigawatt was added in the world, and the most important is 1 terawatt cumulative installation has reached 2022. That's crossed one boundary there. So now it looks that it's going to go very fast. India installed total cumulative now is 63 gigawatt. It should have become, according to the plan, 2022 should have been 100 gigawatt, because 63 gigawatt only because of many reasons, or because of the pandemic, and also our getting our wafers from China also has been reduced. So many things have happened. So that goes into this. But it has to go up to 280 gigawatts by 2030. And so it has to be really uphill task to go there, but it has to be done. Now, what is the issue now is the PV manufacturing, photovoltaic manufacturing, mostly in China. Nearly 70% is basically made in China, even more than that. So now, because it's now a lucrative business, now all the countries are now gearing up. India started what's called production linked initiative, by which government is giving a lot of incentives as subsidy to start different things. For example, one can make a polysilicon completely. No, India is not making any polysilicon so far. No crystalline silicon so far. Now Adani and Ambani are starting already with polysilicon. So polysilicon, making polysilicon wafers, cutting them to wafers, crystals, the cells, and then modules. So a complete set will be made in India. For example, Adani and Ambani, Reliance, both are making its way. There are a few other companies also. And some of them will get only wafers. And they'll get the polysilicon ingot and they'll make the wafers in India and cells, then the modules. And some of them will get the complete wafers and they'll make the cells and modules. So there have been three type of payments have been done, and they have to show it within 4 years their products. US also has similar act now, Inflation Reduction Act. They have already given 200 gigawatt for manufacturing capacity, very similar to our production linked initiative. A slight difference, but both are basically meant to increase the production in the own country, and so that we don't have to into China. You must realize that this year 70% of our import from China reduced. So it's a big reduction of the import from China this year. So because India is now asking for the Atmanirbhar to make it in India, so a lot of dependence from China is coming down. But then what is the uphill task? For example, we had only 1 terawatt so far here. But we have to, if you want to get all the powers from the solar only, it has to be nearly 75 gigawatt terawatt by the end of 2050. So it has to go from here to there, which means it has to have 20% increase per year installation of photovoltaic modules. So that almost 3.4 terawatt per year has to increase to come to this level. That means you have to have installation per year. Press installation also go in the same way, and it can saturate around 2035, 37, something like that. Then you can have easily a 3 terawatt installation if it's there. Then we can reach this 75 terawatt. But that is what needed, and it seems to be possible with now with all this exponential increase of the photovoltaics. It's possible that completely all electricity can be generated from the solar power. But I'm talking about only electricity, not the total energy, only electricity. However, reality models show that it's not really completely. Because 2050, if you look at it, Africa and India will have maximum sort of also Chile, leave Chile. Africa and India will have like 70% to 80% power will come from electricity will come from the solar. Others also will catch up there. Actually, China is only 40%. So we are actually more ambitious in Africa also, and because we have more light and we can. So anyway, even to reach there, you need a lot of installation and production in India. At present, if you look at it, the solar capacity per capita actually is there only in rich countries. Australia has the maximum, then Netherlands and Germany. That's per capita. The total maybe not much, but per capita is these are the highest. They're much higher than the world average. Now, if you look at the reality, solar is hardly only 5% of total energy. Not if you took total energy, let's say, it's only electricity only. It's only 5%, not more than that. However, global share of net expansion of electricity per year is highest for solar. That means every year it's going more than 60% around something like that. It's growing maximum. Whereas nuclear fossil is increasing slightly, hydro is almost very small, and the wind is increasing also. So I can see here from here, others are increasing also per year, but the wind is already higher and it's still growing, and solar is going the maximum. So they will at one point will cross over the coals and the gas, and should be able to make all the power electricity from the photovoltaics. Why it is happening is because the price of electricity is falling drastically. If you look 10 years back and now, it's almost come down 10 times. So, for example, here you can see the learning curve. It's going just like semiconductor industry. How the the Moore's law, the power, the price fell down depending on the number of number of sites. So here, for example, it's especially last 10 years, it's falling very rapidly. So at present, it's only 0.5, something like 5 cents per watt peak. That's very small, unimaginable 10 years back. And you can see the India also auction price of the solar. It's Aditya Birla or Handuja. As you can see there, it's around two rupees per kilowatt hour. So of course, it's auction price doesn't mean that they are going to sell you this price. They will make a margin, maybe another 50%, maybe 5 rupees per kilowatt hour they can sell. Still, it's almost with the grid parity. So solar power in India also is almost grid parity. It's the same as the fossil fuel cost. And that's why the explosion of PV growth is occurring. However, this falling of the price is having a problem with the market, in the sense that people are buying a lot of these things from China, for example, with you can see them very low price, 0.23, 23 cents per watt plus purchase, let's say, and this then you can't able to sell in the market because the price is falling so much. You are unable to sell with a margin on this. So, and a spot price in Europe, it's already only 15 cents per watt peak. That means this person, whoever is buying them, they are unable to sell it. Now there are 80 gigawatt of unsold power panels in Europe. So the price falling has a two-edged sword. One way it's explosion of PV inflation. On the other side, it's also affecting the market. But somewhere some balance has to be made. One more competing technology, of course, is wind, and wind will be there. And I think they can live together because daytime can be solar power, nighttime can be wind, and bad weather also can be wind. But the problem is offshore. Onshore is a problem. People are not willing to put the solar panels on the land. So mostly you can see them offshore. If you go to around Amsterdam, in the whole sea is full of solar panels. They're a bit more expensive, but that's going to be there for a long time because sea is vast. So this you can put them there. Nobody is going to object to it. And there is one factor which makes a difference between the what is called the levelized cost of electricity, that we determine which one will be market friendly. For example, you look at it. I don't want to go into details into this. Just one thing: solar PV. It's only 0.049. That's around 5 cent per unit. So that comes to around 3 rupees per unit. And the only onshore wind is cheaper than that. So this is actually this price for 0.5 to 5 cents per kilowatt hour is almost similar to what you buy in the grid. And all of them are slightly higher, but they are also very near to, and they will take some time to come to this level. But as you see here, onshore wind and the solar PV are very attractive for the market. And that's why all this explosion of PV and wind is going on. Then we'll come to some basic now physics. What is happening? This is typical solar spectrum. This is black body from the sun. If it is 6,000 degree Kelvin on the black body, and radiation. So, but actually in the space, you get a spectrum like this. This is called M0 radiation. That's what a satellite or a space vehicle will be getting, this much radiation. But on Earth, you get a spectrum like this called M1.5. M1.5 is called MN. N is basically 45 degree. Light falling on a 45 degree on Earth. That means light falling in Paris in a summer at 12 o'clock noon. The light that falls there is almost similar to M1.5. But in India, for example, the light intensity is slightly higher than M1.5. M1.5 is 100 milliwatt per centimeter square. This is called lab standard. So somebody says, what is my efficiency of solar cell? Somebody says This 20% means this 20% with this light intensity at measured at 25 degrees centigrade. So that's called STC, and all the efficiencies are measured according to this. Now the issue is that this is what the whole spectrum is. But if this is the band gap of the material, let's say it's amorphous silicon, which has got a band gap of 1.75 eV. So only light energy, this light will be absorbed by the material, and that's only the low wavelength light. And all the long wavelengths will be passing through that. They will not be able to use. But not only that, all this higher energy light also will be lost because the carriers will diffuse and they will relax to the conduction band aids. So a lot of energy loss will be lost here, thermalization loss. And if it is crystalline silicon, again the transparency loss is less, but a lot of light will be energy will be lost here because once they light up, let's say blue, green light are absorbed, they'll thermalize to this energy level, and then that energy lost to the thermalization loss. So this is called the spectral loss. So we are unable to get complete solar spectrum. We are unable to use it. So it's a big spectrum. We are unable to use the whole spectrum. So you can see it clearly in this band diagram. Let's say this is my energy band diagram of a typical solar cell. Typically is made PN junction, not necessary. For example, perovskites, DSS, there can be carrier electric contact solar cells. But let's say typical solar cell is a PN junction. That means silicon goes with boron and silicon goes with phosphorus. These two P and N layers are connected to each other and make a diode. Light is coming here. If the light energy is less than this band gap, let's say for the red light, we pass through this. And if the light is energy more than this band gap, it will be absorbed, of course, like this. But the energy will be lost when it's thermalized into the production band. And if there's exactly same energy, there's no loss. Different light for this typical of this band gap. That depends on the band gap to band gap. So there is one thing called thermalization loss, and there is the optical absorption loss inside. So these two losses are there, and then there's a contact loss will be there, and recombination loss also there. If you are going there, the electron holes will recombine, so the recombination loss will be there. If I don't take any other into account, these are all fundamental ones. I'm not taking into material is good, bad, ugly. I do not know anything. Just I'm taking that as if there is a material which has a band gap, and what happens. Then that gives to what's called Shockley-Queisler limit. So all the losses that I told you, put them together, they'll be maximum efficiency will be 30%. Because some energy loss by the Carnot cycle, then there is the entropy loss, all these things will be there, and recombination loss, optical loss, everything will be there. Finally, maximum efficiency will be around 33%, and that's for the 1.45 EV band gap material. For example, cadmium telluride or gallium arsenide. Anyway, so this is the maximum. You cannot get efficiency more than that. This is where the chart was made by Martin Green some time back. He was the first one to define what's called first, second, and third generation. First generation is the silicon type of cells, the typical cells from the very beginning. And these solar cells have got high efficiencies. You can see their module efficiencies, but the cost also very high. Whereas thin films, for example, cadmium telluride, CIGS, amorphous silicon, there are only 1 micron thick cells. Very cheaper, but the efficiency is less. And then this is unable to actually, the thin film are unable to compete with the silicon cells because of the efficiency problem. So the third generation concept came in that you can cross this barrier and go to this one. Actually, this is not possible because there is the optimal thermodynamic limit comes in. So you can only up to here only you can have it. And these third generations are many types. They are up converter, up conversion, down conversion, hot carrier cells, multi-junction cells. All these things are part of this. And I'm going to talk about this, how to use this energy, this light which was unused by our devices in this case, how we can use this light to get high efficiency. So idea is that at the end, this solar panel that you have on the rooftops, they are around 20% efficiency, and those are which are all everywhere you can see in India. Aluminum BSF type of solar cell. They are called silicon aluminum back surface based solar cell. Around 20% efficiency. PERC cell, which are now maximum produced in the world, also in India, they will be still saturated around 23.5%. Then comes this. Then afterwards, this will go away. Already this is going away. PERC is come already dominating market now. The next one will come, what called silicon heterojunction cells or TOPCon cells. They're called participating contact cells. They will saturate around 25%. Then they call back contact cells. That means you don't want a light to be obstructed in the front side. That also will be around 26%. But once that is finished, you are in the limit of the circuit wider limit. Then one has to go toward the tandem cell. That's why everyone is talking now about tandem cells, silicon-based tandem cells. You go to any conference, most of the discussion is about this. So what is the multi-junction cell? I told you many things are there, like hot carriers, up conversion, down conversion, everything is there. But the only thing feasible so far has been really the multi-junction cells. What is a multi-junction cell? What you do is that these two cartoons, you can see them. Either you take the light completely and you have some filters here which can selectively reflect light and filter out the next one. And so you have a different light at different places. And let's say you start with different wavelengths. You can split them up to 5-6 wavelength range. And each one you can have a solar cell here, and you can add them up to all the efficiencies. This is parallel connections, but you can have series connections in which light comes to one cell, and then it goes through. Let's say then pass through, and then it goes to another cell, and it passes through, and multiple cells are there, and so it's called series integration. And these series integration ones actually are most interesting for the application, most commercial production and the market use. So this is interesting, but actually it has a lot of problems. So we'll come to that. And some time back, actually almost 2010 onwards, some groups even started making whether we can make almost 6 cells, 6 to 7 cells, 8 cells even. They can combine to make high efficiency cell. For example, Hari Wadwata from Stanford, he had been talking about such type of cells. You can light comes here, and you can have a filters and so that you can concentrate and make many cells. You can make 7 band gap materials with different types of gallium, indium phosphide, and arsenic all together alloys. You can have different band gaps, so they can go from different band gaps here, from blue to red, from high to low energy, and you can make such substance, and you can add the efficiency like this. So, however, this is nice to plan, but the execution is very difficult. So, to a very simple way, what you need is it's a set of cells with different band gaps. It has to go from the high band gap to low band gap because of nature of absorption. Your first the high band gap will absorb first, and then you can see that the lower and lower, higher and higher wavelengths will go to bottom and bottom cells. So you have a different type of band gap materials. You can put them together. If you have only 2 cells called tandem cell, just tandem. If you have a series of cells called triple junctions. Most of the cells so far commercially has been up to this. However, 5 cells bonded gallium arsenide type of cells have been made, which is around 38% has been created. But they are only for space applications. But for terrestrial application, it's tough business still. So, but in the thin film, there are many materials we can have different band gaps that you can utilize. Typically, this has been successful in thin film for a long time. Actually, Unisolar had been making for a long time triple junction cells. What Unisolar is making was in US, they are making roll to roll, not rolled actually, flexible cells on stainless steel foils. They have amorphous silicon top cell and silicon germanium middle cell and another silicon germanium or microcrystalline silicon the bottom cell. So you have 3 different band gaps observing different parts of solar spectrum. They used to sell this actually products. And it can be also 2 types, just amorphous silicon top and microcrystalline silicon bottom cell like this. You can observe the light at 2 different cells, and they are series connected here. And this has been in market for a long time actually. Many companies used to sell. But the efficiency, as you can see here, is only 13 to 15% efficiency. Mostly 12 to 13 actually commercially. Whereas silicon gives more than 20%. That is the problem. The efficiency was low, even though lots of light was absorbed. The material quality is not that good, so a lot of carrier gets lost in the decomposition. This is not a new thing actually. From Osaka University, Professor Mahamakawa, long back, 80s, he told that you can have a instead of just thin films, everything. He said, you take a crystalline silicon bottom cell and amorphous silicon top cell, you can connect. Because crystalline silicon already giving a high efficiency value, you take amorphous silicon top, you can connect, and there are a lot of simulations was also done. You can get up to a 30% efficiency. That time you are not thinking in terms of crossing the Shockley Quasar limit. A 30% efficiency can be created by observing light different cells. And such set of cells were also created, made, but you can see here the efficiency is not that high. It's still only around 20%. But he used to call that honeymoon cell because it's honeymoon between amorphous and crystalline. And so this idea was not new, it has been there. You can either have 2-terminal or a 4-terminal. 4-terminal is parallel connection. So there is no electrical connection between them, 2 cells. You just take the power output from each one and connect it here. Whereas this is what the series 2-terminal connect, the device was called series connected device, is actually commercially most interesting. And we in Utrecht actually we started work long back. In '96, in fact, I published one of these papers and making what is the most important part any of these things is the tunnel junction between the 2 cells. Because this is an NP junction here, it has to be made ohmic here. That is what is the whole idea behind, or the most bottleneck of how to make a tandem cell. So this I created what's called a nanocrystalline type or microcrystalline type of tunnel junctions. I showed that it can be very effective junction between the cells, and it was published around '96. A lot of cells were made. We made such type of tandem cells, amorphous silicon and microcrystalline silicon tandem cells with different band gaps, and also make it triple junctions with amorphous silicon, silicon germanium, nanocrystalline. All these things we made. But I will see that efficiency, stability efficiency was only around 12%. This is why reason that the thin film market simply vanished. It's only their niche market. It's unable to compete with silicon because silicon is high efficiency. Now, why silicon is now important? It comes from the problem here. That's called the balance of system. That means module can be cheap. Actually, amorphous silicon module is also cheap. But then you need because the efficiency is low, you need a lot of areas to get this much power. But also that means you need a lot of frames, that's called balance of system cost. So the balance of system cost is almost 50% of the whole price of the electricity. Whereas modules and cells, let's say another 50%. And Oxford actually made a calculation on this. He said that if I reduce my cell cost, like module cost, by 20%, I'll save only 3% price. But if I increase my efficiency by 20%, I'll save by 17%. That actually shows everything. Efficiency now most important thing. Price or the cheap. Somebody says I make it I sell because cheap. It has no meaning now. Because cheap cell has no meaning. It has some effect, as you see here, they can reduce the cost, but that's not the main factor. Now the efficiency is more important. That's why everybody is going towards the crystalline silicon solar cells. And also not only crystalline silicon, the multi-junction solar, multi-crystalline silicon is also going from market. Really high quality crystalline silicon of monosilicon is now what's being used. Because everybody wants to go for high efficiency. But then that's why people want to make with this crystalline silicon, how to make a tandem cell. Then you get more and more efficiency. So this is what explained by Martin Dean once calculated that you can go up to almost 50% if you have 3 junctions by this. But people are trying only up to 2 junctions, you can get around 40%. So this is what actually the 2 types of cells are. And I told you previously the amorphous silicon top cell and crystalline silicon bottom cell didn't work. I told you before. Yeah, here. You can see here, it was only this much percent. It was not much. So now that has changed. What has changed? There's a new type called perovskite cell, the material. These are all organic, inorganic type of perovskite materials. That is methyl ammonium lead iodide. This has got a perfect band gap, 1.75, similar to amorphous silicon. But the quality of the film, the material is far, far better compared to amorphous silicon. There is very little defect in them. The efficiency of single junctions of perovskite cell have reached up to 26%. So now both are high quality solar cells. Now they can be connected. The current is very high here, so it can be easily matched. The main thing about this sort of 2 terminal device is that the current has to be matched top to bottom. These 2. And that's the trick of making a tandem cell. Then the voltage will be added. The only thing that one has to have a good, nice junction here between them. This is a 2 terminal device. You can have 4 terminal device completely with an optical coupler, but this is, I say that is not interesting for the commercially. And we are in IIT. We have started a project on this, how to utilize this sort of cells and how to make this sort of cells. What is happening in the world over? As I told you, world over people are interested in making tandem cell of this crystalline silicon with perovskite tandem cell, and the first one to reach very near to what called shortly quasar limit of crystalline silicon of 29 cross 29% was Oxford PV, and Oxford went very strongly now. They want to go for production, and they have started actually the assembly lines. Then EPFL from Switzerland, we had a long collaboration before. They reached around 31% in October 2. You can see quickly, Helmut Center Berlin, they reached 32.5% in November, just quickly after this. And then KAUST, that's King Abdullah University of Science Technology in Saudi Arabia, they reached up to 30.5%. Stefan Holt, actually, all this were working together, Helmut University, around in the consortium. So Stefan is heading that there at 33.5%. Recently, Longi from China went up to 33.9%. Recent record. So all this you can see here, they have all crossed the Shockley quasar limit of single junctions. It's actually marching. Every month, somebody is coming up with a new record. And of course, some other people are making different other type of tandem cells, which crystalline silicon, with gallium arsenide cells. But I think this is what is interesting. 4 terminal device some people are making, but I'm not sure it's really the market. As you see here, the tandem cell is a very complicated cell. This is the silicon heterojunction cell with one side will rough, other side is flat. Normally it should be textured, but they are flat because the perovskites or any other polycrystalline material cannot grow on top of textured surface. So it has to be flat, and maybe minor texture will be there. But you can see a lot of various types of materials have to be grown to make it work. And the choice of perovskite was taken after discussing a lot of other things. For example, cadmium telluride, CIGS, gallium arsenide, for silicon, all these things. Something other is missing somewhere there. Only perovskite has see a pretty nice quality current, which is you can get around 20 milliwatt per centimeter square, milliampere per centimeter square in a top cell, which will match half the crystalline silicon cell. Then this current matching will be there. So that's why out of all choice, finally people have reached the perovskite cell with work. All these things have limitations. There's also one more thing is that it should, they told you the tandem cell it's a high voltage cell. It's adding of the voltages. So the voltage of the top cell you're adding there, that actually is a lucrative thing, how good it is. You can see here, I'm not going to do what is called Urbacter, that is the tail of the adsorption tail of the material. So the adsorption tail basically tells how much of the VOC will be. And you can see here, and this perovskites have the loss from the band gap to VOC is a pretty small actually. See here. And that actually makes it attractive as a top cell. But of course, people are also making perovskite to CIG as top cell to absorb a lot of solar spectrum. But this will be a smaller. There is one more thing why one has to go to tandem cell. It's not only to absorb a lot of light, big spectrum, but also because the temperature coefficient of the efficiency of a solar cell depends on the voltage. I'm not going to describe the physics behind it, but you can see here the voltage is the voltage, and this is the temperature coefficient. The temperature coefficient means, let's say there is somebody says I have got 20% efficient solar cell, but actually in the outside the efficiency will be low or the power will be less. That depends on the coefficient. This, let's say crystalline silicon typically is 0.45 minus 0.45 percentage per Kelvin. That means a lot of power will be lost actually when really in the hot condition. Let's be in India, where the outside temperature is 50 degree and actually set temperature go up to almost 80 degree. So you can see there will be a lot of power loss. For Indian condition, you need a very high voltage cells. So either you go to silicon hydrogen cells, it's quite high voltage, or you go to complete tandem cells like this. That will be helpful to get the low temperature coefficient of the efficiency or power. So both the things helps just that we should go towards the tandem cells. Which so in IIT we have a PhD project to make this is called heterogeneous solar cell. The heterogeneous solar cell means crystalline silicon with thin film amorphous silicon as a passivating contacts and some emitters. So PN junction is the P layers is actually amorphous, whereas this N layer, this observer layer, is crystalline. So it's a combination of amorphous and crystalline. So PN junction is created between the crystalline observer and the amorphous emitter, and there is a back surface field which just to see that there is no loss inside. And it can be bifacial or it can be monofacial. These are the main efficiencies in the world at present for the single junctions. And we want to make this one set of cell and utilize this one to make the tandem cells like this. Only thing should be flat, not texture. As we are doing. And also we want to make because flat, there's no texture, the light is going straight here. So there is no, the light trapping only comes after texture, after scattering from here. But there is no scattering from the top, which loses the amount of light being absorbed in this material. As crystalline silicon is indirect band gap, you need to have a lot of thickness to get absorb all the light. But if there are no textures here, its absorption becomes less. So what we do here, we put a optically, topographically flat, optically rough surface, but 2D photonic structures here, and with the back reflector, we put it here, so that we manage this light such a way that scattering goes up inside here and a lot of light will be absorbed. This was published recently how to make this one. This is what our project here in IIT is, and we are in the beginning stages. And to do that, we are making solar cells here. This sort of PECVD chamber to make the amorphous silicons. On top of, we buy crystalline silicon wafers. Unfortunately, we are buying from China only, because that's the good quality wafers. And from top of that, we make our amorphous silicon type of layers, thin layers on top of it, with this sort of multi chambers, and to make solar cells. And we are transferring technology to BHEL, which has got inline system to make solar cells. The whole idea of that to make silicon heterogeneous cells in this sort of reactors. And then on top of that, after that, we'll make a tandem cell. So in IIT, this is how the assembly line is to make the solar cell. You have a wafer which is cleaned here in a wet bench with DI water, high impurity DI water, and a wet bench with RCA1, RCA2 cleaning. And the wafer goes to this PGT chamber to make all the layers. Then it goes to ALD, that's atomic layer depositions, to make some of the layers again. Then it makes some metal evaporation for some of the layers, the tissue layers. Then it goes to a magnetic structuring system to make some transparent conducting layers. And then it goes to metal printing, like this prints will come. They're small cells, the metal printing, but it can be also large, complete big cell can be done, depending on what you want. Then this is encapsulation and comes out. This is what the assembly line we have. Most of them I got it from Netherlands. Some of them I purchased here. So I just want to show how the lab looks like. This is the PGT chamber and this system, and this is magnetic sputtering system and some other PCVD system here. And this is the metal grade fine line printer with the curing system, and this is ALD system, right? And these are many characterizing systems with the specular response, current voltage characteristics, and specular response solar cells, lifetime measurements, and also a lot of material characterization like PDS, photothermal reflection spectroscopy, luminescence, reflection transmission, FTIR, state photographic gating technique, all these things, and perovskite materials, all these things are done here. Okay, just I will briefly tell our results. So we have made this sort of cells with 19% efficiency. This I told you, this standard cell. And we are moving towards what's called the carrier selective contact solar cell. What is it? Is that instead of PN junction, I told you, it's a new concept. You have an observer layer and you have two membranes, which allow one membrane allow electrons to go, another will allow only holes to go. So there is no built-in potential here. It just there is no depletion layer, nothing, not like this. There is no built-in potential or depletion region here. Only there is by choosing certain types of work function, you can allow either electron to pass or a hole to pass. It's called carrier selective contact. That's how you can make the cell. To do that, we have a lot of, you can see here, cartoon that's going on. You have a lot of whole transport layers, like molybdenum oxide, vanadium oxide, tungsten oxide, and electron transport layer, the lithium fluoride, magnesium oxide, magnesium oxide. The only thing, the ATL layer should have a small work function, whereas the STL layer should have a high work function. That's what is needed only. Once that is done, the electron holes are formed here, and they will be collected to different the different contacts. This is electron hole electron transport layer and hole transport layer. So it will be connected across it. And we have already made this sort of layers already, and also one more thing needed is the passivity surface. This surface, one of the most important of the thing about this sort of cell is the passivation layer. Because there are dangling bonds on top of the silicon surface. They have to be passivated with some layer, and that's the trick of this sort of cell. It's called amorphous silicon. Does that? You can do that by using aluminum oxide. This is what we do, and this is the proof with the pudding. So you can see the lifetime of this of the wafers after the passivation layer, and it to 1.24 millisecond is pretty high, and this is almost giving a implant VOC of 704 millivolt. This is one of the highest. It's highest in India anyway. It's also one of the highest in the world. This gives a good indication that we can make pretty high carrier selective contacts, but that's in progress now. We are also making the perovskite cells for top cells, and we don't want to do the ones which is going on in the market. We want to make crystalline perovskite cells, single crystals, and not a polycrystalline ones. And this is in progress, and it's got band gaps. We have already got from like 1.5. It has to go up to 1.6 1.7 to get the best tandem cell. They are going on that. I will quickly go through a bunch of other solar cells, which are third generation solar cells, which are used to trap light. So multi-junction is one of the ways to trap solar spectrum. There are other methods also. One of them is called hot carrier cells. That means you excite the holes from Earth's electron. Instead of before this thermalize, you can pull them away. So one of the major laws is the thermalization laws. Any photon with high energy is basically thermalized, and this thermalization loss has to go. So idea is to have quantum dialectric type of materials, and with quantum selective contacts here can pull away the carriers before they thermalize. So the hot carrier cells have been proposed long back, and many people are doing, but so far I have not seen really conclusive on cell. There are higher efficiency than this, but it's a long-term perspective. The other one is down conversion. So what you do is that this down conversion means this energy, which is high energy light, which is absorbed by the material. I told you they can thermalization loss. But if I can convert from this high energy to low energy, that's the low wavelength to long wavelength, and that's called down conversion, then I can save without losing any energy. So that's what's called down conversion. You have different materials. You can take sodium, and you can change down conversion. You can do, and so one photon you can cut one photon to two photons, and they can be guided towards the solar cell. So I have to put this one in the front because the high energy light is observed always front side. So we put this down conversion material in the front side, these sort of materials, and then they can be guided to inside it, and so this can be a back contact cell with this by converting now high energy light to low energy light. So this is one of the ways. But anyway, we had a big project on this, but the efficiency improvement again was very, very small. So I said these are all mostly concepts. It takes quite some time to come to that. The other one is called the intermediate band gap solar cell. That means you have you take one material with a band gap some other, and then this light energy smaller than this normally passes through. But what you do that you put another material which has got a band, which has a band gap smaller than half of this one, so that you make a intermediate band here. You can excite the electron from here to here and from here to here again. So this way you can utilize this low energy light which was normally lost. You can use them. So one of the ways to make is, let's say, tin sulfide, and it's with the indium sulfide shell. As you told, it has to be quantum dot, because that's a single state, and no band here. So this is what one of the ways we try to do. It's called QD booster project. So the normal copper indium sulfide cells, but this emitter one, we just wanted to have four cell structure with this one, and also sometimes we could make a different size of this quantum dots with a multi layers of quantum dots. And this we tried. It was possible to make this one. Everything was also showed slightly improvement, but not dramatic improvement. It's like only 1% improvement. So again, it's a concept only. And the other one is called down up conversion. So now you can see here. This is you can see the spectrum here. This I told you the down conversion is this one. This light goes to here. And this I told you already, this light which is lost, this energy which is lost, can be converted to usable energy if this is converted to this energy. Whereas the other way around is that I can also take low energy lights which are passing through the material. I can convert it to high and utilize it. So this is a calculation done for crystalline silicon absorption. The up conversion gain can be this much. It can be around 10% gain, and down conversion gain can be this much. So, quite let's say almost 50% increase of the efficiency can be by putting up conversion and down conversion. I told you already that down conversion we tried that. It Principle is okay, but you don't get it that much. So here also a calculation was done. If you put up conversion material for crystalline silicon, you don't gain much. Only this much you can gain. But let's say amorphous silicon solar cell, you can gain tremendously. You can use the up conversion material. So to do that, we tried to do that. Just want to have difference between the intermediate band gap and the up conversion solar cell. Intermediate band gap solar cell, your both are squeezed together, one system only, and so that the conversion is the excitement is happening in that band gap, and that's why you're getting it. Whereas in the up conversion material is kept outside the cell. So first light is coming, absorbed, all the high energy light is being absorbed, low energy light is going there, and the up converted, it goes back again and it gets absorbed. So the up conversion is a separate system, an entity from the solar cell. Unlike this one, the intermediate band gap is the same entity. So, so this is basically what it is. The up conversion bifacial solar cell, there is up conversion on the backside. There are people who have tried to get it through the liquid methods. It's called triplet annihilation. You can absorb some material and transfer the energy to triplet state. And triplet annihilation is a very old concept, which is can be done by when then it goes to emitter the ground state, otherwise go to higher state, so that now the energy can be increased from here to here. So this sort of thing has been tried, and as a solar cell, amorphous silicon solar cell, such a triplet annihilation material gets put in below, and so of course this current was increased nearly 1 milliampere per second. But in the reality, you cannot have a cell like this hanging somewhere here. So you have to embed in the system. So lanthanide types of materials can be good as a host material in which you can put ytterbium and erbium together, and you can have a up conversion. So there are, for example, I come here directly here. You can have this material which is ytterbium. It absorbs light, and it can excite the erbium, and so it can go to higher level. And then from here you can have a emission from here. So now this is how the up conversion taking place from here to here. We can see here. So this actually principle good. It works also pretty well in the material. And however, when you make a solar cell, we tried different types of solar cells, putting up conversion on the backside, with the amorphous silicon where the maximum efficient. There was increase of current, but then you need a really very high light, also laser light, to see the difference. You can publish a lot, but commercially it's still a long way to go. But the idea is that this sort of things has to happen sometime, because thin film solar cells have got a big future. If you look at the structures here, in which I had worked for 2 projects, one is to make very large area solar cells. This is an applied material system. 6 meters square large solar cells can be made, and you can like a display. You can also make roll to roll, in which we developed this one for Elianthos project, which is known and actionable. And this sort of cell can be made thin film cells. Here, if you can use the up converter material, you can increase the solar cell efficiency and make it more competitive with respect to crystalline silicon. We expect that's what is will be future. So, but when it will be done, we don't know. Crystalline silicon anyway is going to stay at least for next 15 years. There is no way anybody can compete with that. Cadmium telluride is slightly competing, but not much. So crystalline silicon will be there for quite some time. But I think we should be ready for 2050. All sorts of solar cells. And this is my group, and actually they were all the group while setting up the lab. And, so, thank you very much.